Welcome to Empowering Innovators, the series where we talk about innovation the startup way. Today I have with me Martin Wild, the Chief Innovation Officer at MediaMarkt Saturn. Welcome, Martin.
Hi Patrick, thanks for having me.
Let's go to MediaMarkt Saturn now, where you've been the Chief Innovation Officer for 1 year now. Before that, you were already with the company for quite some time. The retail market, and especially those of consumer electronics, has been changing quite rapidly over there. The consumer demands are very different. Direct to consumer, which you started yourself, but it's a big thing now. You have the pure players, you have the brands themselves that are maybe looking at business to consumer. How do you look at the major changes that you perceived yourself in the industry?
Well, apparently the online was the biggest driver of change back then, right? It started and people started to buy online because they could save on price. This was the first big wave, and this was also why my company was growing. And more or less they realized that sometimes it's a better convenience to stay at home and have it shipped. And this online transformation is still apparently not finished yet, but now everybody knows it's there and everybody can adapt. Well, most of them, not all retailers fully understand, I'm afraid. But MediaMarkt Saturn also was very late. So MediaMarkt Saturn had a lot of internal discussions, and when I joined the company in 2011, they did not have an online business, right? Selling consumer electronics, 2011 no online business, and that's the reason apparently why they brought me in, because they said, now we need to do it. Right. So it was a big internal discussion apparently, how do we do it? What do we do? Is it right? Is it wrong? And we launched then our online business and really built a multi-channel business. But today retail I think is in a much bigger transformation, because there's so many new concepts coming up, and I believe retail in the next 10 years will change more than in the last 100 years, because digitalization is now coming to retail in total, and it's the customer experience that will transform. It will get much more personalized. Yeah. The business operations will change, and apparently there's constantly new business models that grow from digitalization. And to stay alive, I think you need to keep on innovating, and it's not only selling online, which is definitely very, very important, but it's much more you can do to stay relevant for the consumer in the future.
So one of the big trends that we're seeing, also coming from the US, the Amazons are testing this for some time in retail already, is not using any cashiers anymore, right? How do you look at that? I heard that you did a pilot in Austria. Can you share some of your learnings and insights?
Yes, definitely. We see this as a very interesting trend, and we think it will prevail in the end. So also we worked with a startup here. So we found a startup called MishiPay in Retail Tech Hub. We met them in October 2017, and we liked their approach, and we decided to launch a pilot, a pop-up store with them together. So we did a kickoff in November, and we opened up a complete cashierless store in Innsbruck, Austria in March 2018. So only 3.5 months during the Christmas period. Now think about making this happen in a corporate environment.
That's so easy, eh?
There's a freeze period from November until February for anything, right? So but we launched this pilot store, and it was really completely cashierless free. So you went into the store, you took your mobile phone, you could download the app or use the website, you scanned the product. Every product had an RFID tag. You paid the product, the RFID tag was marked as being paid, and you could leave the store. The downside is if you don't have a mobile device or no credit card or PayPal, you cannot pay, right? But that's something, the risk we took. We said, okay, we want to experience how does the process work, how is this whole environment, and how this new experience perceived by the consumers. The first time I did it myself, it felt a little funny. It felt like stealing something. Yeah. But the second time I said, why can I not buy everywhere like this? Right. And that's the reason why even it was only a pop-up. Even after closing this, we did a second pilot in Munich with another startup, which is building security spiders that help the consumers also to buy very expensive products. Remove the spider. And the last thing we just launched in Hamburg. That's our biggest store. It's 18,000 square meters. It's the biggest consumer electronics store in the world. And we launched in December Saturn Smart Pay, where the consumer can pay almost everything in the store using his mobile device in an 80,000 square meter store. So that's a little bigger than the Amazon Go store. It's apparently different technology, but we truly believe that this will be very important for consumers in the future, because I think we all agree that nobody wants to wait in line. And there's a number I want to share. I read an analysis that said that last year 34 billion euro in Europe were lost because people left the store because they did not want to wait in line. Right. So I think
that's a big pain then.
That's a huge potential.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it feels a little bit in going to an Uber and just also stepping out, right?
Yes.
It's a convenience play, basically. Are there any other insights that you draw from those pilots, from the consumer experience point of view?
Well, sometimes, especially in Germany, sometimes the Germans are reluctant when it comes to innovation. So sometimes you have to, let's say, tell them where the luck could be. So in Hamburg, we use promoters. The cool stuff is if they used it once, the second time they come, they usually use it again. Yeah. So that's very important. But as I said, sometimes in Europe, we are, especially Germany, we are a little bit late. But the payment topic for Germany is very special because, as you know, Germans love to pay cash. Yeah. And apparently we cannot use a cash, and you cannot put your cash into a mobile device. Otherwise, probably they would use this.
And do you also see higher conversion rates then of number of people that go into the store and actually buy something through their mobile phone compared to a regular?
No, what we see is a higher basket value, interestingly, and a higher basket size. That's interesting, but conversion is pretty similar.
Okay. And how do you build an organization that is running its business and needs to create revenues every month? And at the same time, look at the consumer needs, how they are changing so rapidly, and adapt to these consumer needs. How do you organize that?
Yeah, I think it's not easy. We are just, again, in a big transformation. We are building product teams, and those product teams are more or less self-dependent and can decide on their own how do they develop their product. So a product team for the online shop, for mobile, for the store experience, really trying to always to stay close to the market. And at the same time, apparently there's always a day-to-day business. And that's the reason why I think if you really take innovation seriously, you need an own innovation unit, like we have. We have a unit called MediaMarkt Saturn Next, where we focus on working with startups and really trying to bring innovation that is a little further away and sometimes thinking out of the box, because otherwise you sometimes are limited to the things you know and to the roadmap that you already predefined, maybe a long time ago. So I think it's important to have a mix of teams that are able to transform and agile, develop the existing process, and at sometimes have somebody who is bringing something completely new and makes them rethink what they are doing.
Yeah. And if you look at the three horizons that we have in innovation, incremental, business model, and potentially disruptive, where's the major focus of MediaMarkt Saturn Next? Is that still an incremental, or you're looking also at different business models or even disruptive?
Well, we started with incremental because when we started Next, we realized that there's so much that will happen in the offline space, and we have more than 1,000 stores, and offline is very analog still, right? It's not really transformed, and there's so much potential to bring the consumer better experiences and to apparently also save costs and operations. So we do a lot of stuff there. We started to go into new business models. Also together with startups. For example, we have now a startup that's called Deutsche Technikberatung, which we also found in our startup accelerator, where we come to the home of the consumer. So people come and fix something at home. That's a new business model. Even it's analog, but that's a new model.
And so you go into services, basically. You go beyond selling consumer electronics, and you look at the needs of the consumers, basically.
MediaMarkt Saturn is strongly going into solution delivery. So we don't want to just sell the box. We want to help you from first inspiration until really setting it up and making it work. That's a little bit already going into new business. We are disruptive business models. Well, first big disruption was online business, right? That's we have this now. It's part of our channel. We are right now evaluating, but right now I don't see like this big. We started early with virtual reality, but maybe a little too early. Voice is now coming up, but I think it will also be just another channel. So I don't see this big disruption for retail right now. I see many different trends that could change it, and you need to adapt. But I don't see this big disruption coming, at least not right now.
So voice is an interesting topic, because I have my Alexa at home. So I say to Alexa, find me a new iPhone, or find me a new MacBook.
Yes.
Where will it take me? Will it take me to Amazon, to MediaMarkt Saturn? Now you can advertise, right? So how are you going to deal with that?
Well, we built the first, we started to build on Google Assistant because it's a little bit more open. If you ask this question to Alexa, it will take you to Amazon.
I guess.
You would need to ask, find me a new iPhone from MediaMarkt.
Right.
And I personally believe that voice commerce will not be the biggest use case in the beginning. It's another important touch point. So we started with a commerce function. You can buy a daily deal. We have a quiz now. We are building, we have a market finder where you can say, where's the next store? We will build a service application. So I think you will have many different use cases. Shopping, I think, apparently groceries is good, right? Put milk on my shopping list, very easy. An iPhone is a little bit more difficult to buy by voice only. The new assistants now have also a display, and then they can show you something. Yeah. And will more and more people pick it up, but I think it's important to use it as an interacting channel. It will not only be about commerce, but it's a very interesting area that's growing very fast.
Yeah. So Martin, we already came to the last part of our conversation, which is the rapid fire side questions. So I'm going to fire some questions that you answer me very quickly. What's your favorite book?
The 4-Hour Work Week.
What is your favorite innovator?
Elon Musk.
What inspires you?
Technology.
What makes a great leader?
Openness and ready to change his mind.
What drives you?
Innovation.
What should everybody know about you?
I love change.
What do you value more, certificates or experience?
Experience.
Greatest achievement so far?
Launch of my own company.
Biggest learning in life?
Always keep adapting.
Define happiness.
Right mix between work and sports and family.
3 things, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.